Okay, so it was collected by a gravel pit operation actually just outside Saskatoon. And they were actually dredging, so they were pulling gravel out of a dugout. And the person who contacted us basically said that they had pulled out what they thought was a fossil. And so they contacted us and we asked for a few pictures and looked at this, and mammoth ivory has got a very distinctive cross-section. So we knew immediately there's only one thing it could be. So this is pretty exciting. Mammoth tusks, or mammoths in general, are not that common in Saskatchewan. So they come from, obviously, the Ice Age time, which is somewhere about 10,000 years ago. So this is a yoga mat. So we had to be creative in terms of our packing. All right. Let's put this out here. So these are exceptionally fragile when they fossilize. So we have to be really careful about the conditions we keep them in. Ivory is one of the few fossils where it actually matters how warm or wet you keep it. So kind of smells like a gravel pit too. So let's see if I can. I don't know if you can get the close-up of that, but that's a kind of cross-section. It's got a very distinctive texture to it, and that's how we know that it's ivory. So yeah, this is probably about half a mammoth tusk. They would have been about, so it's the same tusk, it's broken in half. So if they put together, it would have been maybe a third or even a half longer. The mammoths we get in Saskatchewan are really, really big from this time period. And so this is what happens to tusks over time. They start flaking off. Like it's just the enamel's actually in layers, like a tree ring. So this is the kind of thing that we try and avoid by letting them dry out too much. So we'll probably take a couple of pictures of this, and then we'll rewrap it again, and so it doesn't get too, so it'll keep moist. And then we'll decide whether we want to put it on display or whether we want to keep it for research.
How will you clean it so you don't have the layers flake off?
Carefully. Probably just with like a soft toothbrush or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Like it is not necessarily the surface that's fragile. It's just anywhere where there's like a fracture. You have to be careful not to tease it apart. Where it would have gone.
What was their response when they learned what it was?
They were pretty excited.
Yeah.
And it's exciting for us too. Like we don't get a lot of calls from industry being like, hey, we found something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it is always exciting when we do find something.
A lot of times they don't know that they found anything. Is that kind of the general, and they just pick it up and kind of...
Or of course, like you're not looking for it, and
Right.
so often it gets missed and that kind of thing.
Exactly,
Yeah. But particularly in Alberta, there are a lot of like really significant fossil finds that were found, particularly in mines where you sort of
Yes.
like strip mining.
There wasn't one too long ago.
There was a hadrosaur, duck-billed dinosaur tail that was found near Grand Prairie. That was found by a road grader. And it was huge, like it was a gigantic hadrosaur.
Yeah.
And then they found an ankylosaur, it's like one of the armored dinosaurs. It was a Suncor mine.
Yeah.
And exquisitely preserved, like everything, like even like the eye, like the little skin flaps over the eye were still preserved. And that's probably a new species, and that was found in a mine. So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. But it is pretty exciting. The only associated mammoth skeleton in Saskatchewan came from Kyle, just north of Sask Landing. And so it is exciting to find another one.
That's cool.
If somebody finds, say, this in their backyard or comes across a fossil, what should they do?
So the best thing to do is not to touch it. About 90% of the information we get from a fossil comes from the fossil context. So it tells us where it is stratigraphically, it tells us the paleo environment it came from, association with other animals is often important. And particularly if it's something significant, it's far easier to stay there and look around for more things than have to go relocate the site to see if there's more stuff. So typically we tell people if you find something, leave it there. Take a picture. If you have GPS coordinates, that's awesome, and send it to us. And if we think it's also really exciting, we'll actually go out and collect it. Like this, the case with this was that we knew this was something significant, so we went up and collected it.
That's cool. Awesome.